All right, let's talk about something that I think a lot of us are feeling these days. It's that mental fog, right? That feeling of just being totally drained and not being able to focus on anything. Well, today we're going to give that feeling a name, and more importantly, we're going to talk about how to fix it. So, does this sound familiar to you? You've been scrolling for who knows how long, and when you finally put your phone down, your brain just feels mushy, kind of sluggish. Your attention span is completely shot, and trying to do even a simple task feels like you're trying to run through mud. You are not making this up. It's a real thing. There's a name for it that's been popping up everywhere: brain rot. But here's the most important part, the real headline. This is not permanent. You can absolutely 100% turn this ship around. So, first things first. What exactly is brain rot? Let's pull back the curtain and really understand what's going on in our heads when we feel this way. Okay, so it's really important to get this up front. Brain rot is not some official medical diagnosis you're going to get from a doctor. It's a slang term, a piece of internet culture that we've come up with to describe a very, very real feeling. That drop in focus and creativity that happens when we're just drowning in endless, super shallow online content. So what's actually going on inside your brain? Well, it all comes down to a chemical called dopamine. Every new video, every notification, every meme, it's a tiny little hit of dopamine. The problem is, when you get thousands of those tiny hits all day long, your brain basically gets burned out. It becomes less responsive, which makes slower, more thoughtful activities feel incredibly boring and almost impossible to do. And this brings us to a super, super important distinction. When we talk about brain rot, we're talking about a strain on your brain's functions that you can totally reverse. We are absolutely not talking about permanent physical damage to your brain cells, like you'd see from a disease or a major injury. This is about habits and stimulation, and that's great news because it means you have the power to change it. So where do we even begin? Well, that brings us to phase one, which I like to call stop the rot. This is all about immediate intervention. It's time for a digital detox. Here's a really good way to think about it. Imagine you had some kind of physical inflammation. What's the very first thing a doctor would tell you to do? They'd say to remove whatever is causing the irritation, right? It's the exact same idea here, but for your mind. We have to cut out the source of the constant overstimulation to give our brains a chance to calm down and actually heal. And this whole detox plan, it really just boils down to 3 clear, actionable steps. Number 1, we have to cut out the fast food content that's giving us those cheap dopamine hits. Number 2, we're going to retrain our brain to focus on just one thing at a time. And number 3, and this one might sound a little weird, we're going to practice being bored again, which actually creates the space our brain needs to recover. All right, step 1, you've got to be ruthless with the main culprits here. I'm talking about short-form video. That stuff is literally engineered to shatter your attention. So for a while, just cut it out. Set some really firm timers on your social media apps. And go on an unfollow spree. Get rid of all the rage bait and junk that doesn't add any value. And super important, give your brain a screen-free buffer for at least an hour before you go to sleep. Let's be real, multitasking is a total myth. All it really does is train your brain to stay on the surface of things, constantly jumping from one task to another without ever going deep. To rebuild that focus muscle, you have to start single tasking. Try working with just one browser tab open. Seriously, eat a meal without a screen in front of your face. And if you need a place to start, the Pomodoro Technique, 25 minutes of pure, uninterrupted focus, is a fantastic training tool. Now, this might honestly be the hardest part, but it is by far the most powerful. Our brains have completely forgotten how to just be still. So when you feel that little twitch in your hand, that itch to grab your phone just because you're in line at the store, just sit with it. Let that feeling come and go without acting on it. You'll find that boredom isn't this terrible void. It's actually the quiet space where your brain finally gets to process things, connect ideas, and where creativity starts to bubble up again.
Okay, so once we've stopped the bleeding, so to speak, it's time to move on to phase 2. This is the rehabilitation phase. It's all about intentionally building new, healthy habits to replace the old ones that were causing the problem.
So the idea here is you can't just get rid of all the junk food and leave a big empty hole. You have to actively replace it with something nutritious for your brain. This means consciously swapping out that fast, shallow content for deep, engaging material, stuff that actually requires you to pay attention for more than 15 seconds. A physical book is perfect for this, right? There are no notifications, no hyperlinks trying to pull you in a million different directions. It's just you and the text. Documentaries, deep dive video essays, long-form podcasts.
All of these things force your brain to follow a complex idea over a longer period of time, and that's exactly what rebuilds your focus.
Okay, this one is a total game changer. This is the ultimate antidote to passive consumption. Instead of just taking content in, you start putting something out. You become a creator. This flips a switch in your brain, moving it from a passive, zombie-like state to an active, problem-solving one. And this can be anything. When you journal, you're literally forcing that jumble of thoughts in your head to have some kind of structure. When you make something with your hands, whether it's cooking a meal, drawing, or coding, you're engaging totally different parts of your brain. Even solving things like puzzles or learning a new language, it's active work that forges new neural pathways and really sharpens your mind. And finally, we have pillar number 3, and this is the foundation for everything else. Because honestly, none of this mental work is going to stick if the actual hardware, your brain and your body, isn't being taken care of. Your mental health is built directly on top of your physical health. And we're talking about the big, non-negotiable basics here. Sleep is when your brain literally cleans itself out and consolidates memories. It is not optional. Exercise pumps oxygen and nutrients to your brain. And real, human, face-to-face conversation, that's a complex, cognitive workout that texting and DMs just can't replicate. So, you put in the work, you do the detox, you start rebuilding. What's on the other side? What's the payoff for all this effort? Well, let's talk about it. It's about reclaiming your own mind. I think this quote just absolutely nails the entire philosophy. It's not just about stopping the bad stuff. It's a two-part process. You have to remove the junk, and then you have to actively cultivate patience for the things that take a little more effort but are so much more rewarding. And trust me, you will start to notice the changes. It won't happen overnight, but you'll feel it. You'll suddenly find yourself able to read for 30 minutes straight. You might even find yourself wanting to pick up a book instead of your phone. Your own thoughts will start to feel clearer, more organized. That constant low-level hum of anxiety starts to fade away, and quiet moments will start to feel peaceful instead of boring. You'll just feel more here, more present in your own life. And really, when you boil it all down, it comes to this one final powerful question. Your attention is the most valuable thing you own. It's the currency of your life. So, who are you letting control it? Curing brain rot is all about taking back the keys. It's about you deciding, consciously and intentionally, what is actually worthy of your focus.